Hello, my name is John Schaeffer. I'm a graduate student at Morningside College. I'm got my undergraduate from Iowa State University. I'm a social studies teacher at Prairie City Monroe, PCM High School in Monroe, Iowa. The title of this presentation is The Effects on Student Academic Performance when Using Kahoots to Review Content Before Summative Assessment. Now, does technology actually help academic success? Many schools are updating their curricula and changing the classroom environment to involve some type of technology-enhanced formative assessment, or TEFA. In the last decade, there has been a major push in the state of Iowa to prepare our students for the 21st century world. Iowa Core State Standard 21-9-12 TL3 will be on the next slide. Why did I select this topic? I've been using the last couple years Kahoot as a formative assessment device to prepare my students for a summative assessment. Here is the Iowa Core 21st Century Standard with technology. Apply digital tools to gather, evaluate, and use information. So what is Kahoot? Kahoot is a customizable quiz online. Teachers can go in and create their own and change it anytime they want. It's a good review tool. It's easy to collect and analyze data, and you get instant feedback as a teacher as well to students. Now, the importance of this topic for curriculum adoption. Many schools have been adopting more technology-based materials. Online textbooks, Google Classroom, one-to-one devices, Moodle. These are just a few examples. School budgets, these things cost money, so you want to spend your money on the correct material. Okay? Most things are either ebooks now, electronically based, or online, so it's good to know what technology works best. And then college and career readiness, post-secondary education uses a lot of technology. Okay? Universities, community colleges, trade schools emphasize the use of technology-enhanced formative assessments in their day-to-day practices in the classroom. Literature review. Here are some studies that are very similar to this one. Now, some gaps in that research that I found. Out of the research, there was no mention done in a high school social studies classroom. Most of the studies were done in a mathematics course. Okay? This study is done in 10th grade classroom. This is an 8-week data collection. Most of the trials were a year longer, and none of them had to do with a CRS system like Kahoot. Research question: do students who receive the Kahoot review before summative assessment do better than students who do not receive the Kahoot review? The impact of this, it could help strengthen instruction, data collection, data analysis, and be used in best practices in the classroom to meet that 21st century Iowa Core standard. The purpose of this study is to seek contextual understanding of TEFA with CRS formative assessments. The hypothesis: students receiving the Kahoot review before summative assessment will do better than students who do not receive the Kahoot review. The independent variable is the Kahoot intervention review the day before the assessment. Experimental group will receive this. The dependent variable is the score on the 4 exams. There are 97 10th graders in this study, which makes 28% of PCM high school. There are 46 boys, 51 girls. There are 4 sections of world history. Period 2, period 3, and period 6 all have 24 students. Period 8 has 25 students. The experimental intervention group will be periods 2 and 6, 48 students. The control group, periods 3 and period 8, 49 students. Validity of this project, or study, came into question only once, but I was able to drop the 2 students who had IEPs and 504 plans that did not allow this study for them to be participants in this study. The materials in this, the hardware is the one-to-one Apple MacBooks that every student has. This is what they will play the Kahoot on. Kahoot.it is the software. This is the website where students go on. They play the Kahoot created by me, the presenter. This will happen before Exam 2 and Exam 4. The 4 exams, the content comes from world history, the textbook World History Patterns of Interaction. Study guides were given to every student regardless of being in the control group or in the experimental group. The procedure is the pretest, post-test, control group, ABA-B design, where weeks 2 and week 6, so exam 1 and exam 3, were baseline periods where no one received any intervention. But weeks 4 and week 8, exam 2 and exam 4, there was intervention for 2 of the 4 classes, the intervention or experimental group. The data analysis was dependent samples t-test, comparing the 2 groups, the control group and the experimental group, and used the JASP software. It was a random selection. I did when I started the research, started this study, did not know the participants. The school counselor placed them into their respective classes. Hypothesis from this presenter. The hypothesis was not supported by the ABA-B design experiment dependent t-test data. Figure 1, these are the mean scores per exam, again out of 50 points. Control group versus experimental group in blue, control group in red. All the exam 2 and exam 4 were the exams where the intervention took place the day before. Table 1, this table shows the descriptive data for all 4 exams for the experimental group who received the Kahoot intervention. N represents the number of students who took each exam, 48 for the experimental group, 49 for the control group. M represents the mean score of each exam, and the exams are out of 50 points. And SD represents standard deviation from the mean score exam. Table 2 is the control group's data for the same thing, all 4 exams, exam 1, 2, 3, 4. Table 3, this table shows the exam 1 baseline and dependent t-test results. For this t-test, the p-value was less than 0.001. The t-score compares the exam scores of the 2 groups. DF stands for the degrees of freedom and is the number of values, the final calculation of statistics that are free to vary. And P represents the p-value, which calculates the probability of the data. Anything above 0.001 shows that there could be other factors affecting the scores. Table 4. This table shows the exam 2 intervention data and dependent t-test results. All the categories are the same from table 3. Table 5, baseline data for exam 3. Exam 4, intervention data in table 6. So what do the results tell me? Well, because the null hypothesis was proven wrong based on the p-score, other factors may have led to the higher exam scores, either student effort, up or down, study guide completion, either not completed or fully completed, and then study time outside of class, more or less. Similar results, a study done by Patchler, Daly, Moore, and Meller found that their 6th grade mathematics class did not have statistical significance. In a study in 2009 by Lipovich and Smith, in their 8th grade science classroom, they also had no statistical significance, saying that CRS technology reviews do not create positive scores. Different results, meaning opposite results, test scores, are studies that said yes, they do. Irving, Papp, Owens, Abraham, Silver, and Slanahan had increased results in attention, participation, and summative assessment scores because of online formative assessments. Study done by Betty and Giras analyzed it in a middle school science classrooms, and they found a small increase in student achievement and significant increase in student attention. Study done by Lee, Feldman, and Betty conducted many studies in science and math classrooms and found that classrooms that use CRSs to review for summative assessments scored higher than classrooms that did not. Study done by Shirley and Irving found that in studying for standardized tests, it is best to use technology. Webb, Gibson, and Forkash-Barash analyzed it for the college level and found significant results, a strong correlation between classes that use TEFA and effort in their college classes. Now, mixed results happen in multiple studies done by Stoll. Now, Stoll compared formative assessments with CRS results and formative assessments without them in 4 different colleges with over 10 exams in each. The results were mixed through the multiple studies. The implications for teachers: this can help with lesson planning. Teachers should use technology however it works for them. Technological literacy and professional development. With there being more and more technology to use, guiding instruction and data collection for assessing, there's a heavy pressure to pick the best possible technological program to reach the students. Using technology to enhance instruction, assessing, and student academic performance, it is key to look at studies like this one to understand what best works for your kids. For students, engagement using technology enhances engagement, even though the study did not talk on that. Jean Piaget, with his constructivism theory, the theory states that children need to be active in the learning process, not passive in it. The 21st century classroom is designed for an active student, and technology aids in this process. Now, limitations of this study. This study did have some weaknesses that must be identified. The weaknesses include the exclusion of two students that because of their IEP and 504 accommodations, they were not able to participate in the study. The length of the study was shorter than all the other research that I found. Hardware and software problems came about during the study. Because Kahoot.it is a website, you're at the mercy of internet connection. Also, some students did not have their computers charged, so they had to play on another student's computer with them. Students also became aware of the study because the control group started complaining that they weren't able to play the game as a review and only got a study guide. So that may have affected the validity of the study. Recommendations: longer study. Okay, longer study like that of Irving and Shirley could give a more comparable study to most of the research. Future researchers should take the framework laid out by this study and collect data for 16 weeks, 32 weeks, 64 weeks, or more. Different grade levels with the same content. The study lays out the framework for future studies to be conducted in different content areas and different grade levels fairly easily. This presenter suggests research to see if middle school students or high school students respond better to CRS reviews. This would be beneficial to K-12 educational practices. This would also help teachers who teach a subject that has students from multiple grade levels, like in high school in one classroom. I did not see any research on a multiple grade level study. Being a multiple grade level teacher, I would like to see that study conducted. And then more frequent. Teachers give students a formative assessment every day. Researchers should conduct a study for an everyday formative assessment with technology. Pretest, one of the most prominent formative assessments strategies in education is giving pretest. The presenter would like to see data on student pretest scores when using CRS technology like Kahoot. English language learners, there's a significant number of students at our middle school who are ELL. It would be nice to have data, more research on TEFA in regards to English language learners. Special education scaffolding, I recommend that there be more research done on this grouping of students, especially with learning disabilities. There's not enough technology or TEFA studies done on this group of learners. Gender comparisons. I found it, as I was going through the study, wondering who this affects more, girls or boys. Comparing same students with different contents. If you do well in math and science using TEFA, does it help in reading and in history? And comparing communities with different backgrounds, such as comparing an affluent community with a low economic community students. Here are the references I used in this study. Thank you.